Alright, what is up everyone? Mummy Dust here. So I did participate in another Ferocious Cup tournament in Columbus. They called it the Buckeye Brawl, and I did go 5-0, and I won this amazing trophy thanks to Jimma Banks for bringing it down. And let's go over my team and how I was able to pull off this win. So I do have basically the two Pokemon that are on everybody's team, Ninetales, Umbreon. Nothing special about those. The difference was I was able to obtain a last resort Umbreon, so gameplay is totally different, and there are things that I could do with Umbreon now that I couldn't before, so we'll go over that a little bit. And then Skunk Tank, Poison Jab, Crunch, and Slush Bomb. Alolan Slash with Powder Snow, Ice Punch, and Bulldoze. Babero with standard moveset, and Nidoqueen with the Double Earth moveset. So going up against our first opponent, we do see basically all the same Pokemon except for Lanoon and Raichu. So Babero might not be the best option if that Raichu lines up against it. So let's see how we play it out. Lead off with Umbreon, and we catch the Lanoon, which is absolutely amazing for us. So we're just going to go ahead, and I was expecting a switch, but deciding to stay in with the Lanoon. So I'm just going to go ahead and queue up the foul play, wait for them to do their fast move. Well, I guess I didn't queue it up fast enough that time, but I'm going to at least build up to a double foul play. A little bit of an extra energy here. And this time we're going to go ahead and do it. We do get hit by the dig. A little bit of lag there, but I verified that it was mutual, so no big deal. Nothing happened. And then it goes right into foul play, and we're going to double up on the foul plays. And we did double up without them getting a Shadow Claw in between, which is extremely nice. Do get a shield, and then we should be able to get to this last foul play before they get to a Grass Knot. So we do a little bit of farming, not too much, so that we can get this off. And then we win Switch Advantage, and we should be able to hit the opposing Pokemon with something, unless it's Ninetales. So not in the best situation here, but I do have two shields, so we're going to go ahead and bring in Skunk Tank, because Skunk Tank can actually double crunch the Alolan Ninetales, and they don't have any shield left. So we're going to go ahead and burn ours, and we're going to get this crunch off. And they either have to burn the shield or let the Ninetales go down, and then we'll have Ninetales in back, presumably for their Umbreon. So there we go, we get the double crunch off. Our Skunk Tank is still alive and well, and we do have a shield, and it's actually a Raichu. I meant to switch out there, but I wasn't fast enough, so you see here it actually gets close. If I would have got hit by a wild charge, it could have been game. But luckily, just a brick break, and I was afraid that the wild charge might come through here, but Alolan Ninetales just absolutely runs through the electric type Pokemon, which tends to be a problem with the electric Pokemon in this cup. Hence why I don't have one, is they're just so squishy, and they lose to, like, you know, the main two Pokemon, and then like Nidoqueen. They even lose, you know, they can lose to Vaporeon if they have shields. So here we lead against Sandslash, which normally isn't a big deal, but I did realize a little too late that, man, this thing is using No Claw. So it absolutely just chunked away at my Alolan Ninetales. And then I asked afterwards, but at this point I was completely caught off by the Blizzard to see if there were other moves on the Alolan Sandslash, because all I saw was Blizzard. So at this point I do have to shield again so that I can win Switch Advantage. So we are not in a good situation here. We're down 2 shields, and we have that bad matchup in the front with that Alolan Sanchez. No, I'm sorry, the Alolan Sanchez came down, but we are down 2 shields, so hopefully we can get both of them here with Skunk Tank, or we can do a bunch of damage. But the main problem is I didn't switch out fast enough with my Ninetales. So my Ninetales has like almost no health at all. So we're going to bring in Umbreon here, and we're just going to go ahead and try and beat this Skunk Tank with Last Resort. We do have to eat a Sludge Bomb, which is not good. And then I do think, no, we go for Foul Play just to try and get the shield bait. and it worked. And then we tried to switch, but I don't know if my opponent queued up there or not. But if they did, it was a really good play on their part. And tried to get this down, and then I have a charge move ready to go, and it's a full-out Umbreon, and there's just no coming back from that. Even with the 2 Pokemon that I have left, Umbreon's just going to take it out. So, I'm not going to go down without a fight, but it's pretty much over at this point. So we are going to have to go into a Game 3 in my first round. And then something I did a little bit different in this tournament, or just like my mindset, was that since I already did my weighted tournament, and I did get the Umbreon with Last Resort, I was a lot more relaxed about it. So if you can, even when you're doing your weighted tournament, or if you're just doing any tournament, just relax a little bit. It's just a game in the end, and it's something that we do to have fun. So we stress out about it a lot and get upset. I'm definitely guilty of that. But I think that was a problem with Richmond, as I was just so caught up on the fact that I didn't have the Last Resort on my Umbreon. So here we do catch the Alolan Sandslash with Umbreon, which is a much better scenario than it was before. So we're just going to go ahead and straight foul play the Alolan Sandslash if they decide to stay in with it. I was kind of wondering how much Blizzard would do to Umbreon, but I did not want to find out in a tournament. So I was I'm definitely going to shield this, and I should be able to get to multiple foul plays before another Blizzard comes through. So yeah, I pretty much assumed that Blizzard was the only move that I knew, because that's all it ever threw. And then in comes Ninetales. We're going to hit the Ninetales with a Last Resort. It's probably not going to be shielded, and then we're going to switch into our own, so that a big chunk of its health is gone, and we can go ahead and farm it down. So I don't know if they were trying to switch there or what was going on, but didn't say anything about it. So we're just going to go ahead and Ice Beam the Skunk Tank, which would do a ton of damage if it goes through. It does not, so we get that last shield, and then we're going to bring in Umbreon, basically to make this thing use its energy. And then we are able to get off a foul play. A little bit of lag there, not a big deal. We're going to foul play. We're going to Last Resort. And then B-Barrel is going to be able to feint this down and shield this last move. So we're just going to be able to feint this down with water guns. Alright, so that was round 1. So for round number 2, my opponent is running Vaporeon and Shelgon, so I wanted to bring Sandslash and Alolan Ninetales just in case he decided to bring that Shelgon. So let's go ahead and get to the battles with Tribe Guy 97. So he does take a little bit to pick his team. Here we go. Umbreon into Vaporeon, which is a very good matchup for us. And we're just going to go ahead and straight foul play it. We are going to queue it up or wait until we have double foul plays. So Aqua Tail comes through, and we are going to Dark Pulse. The thing I did notice about having the Last Resort Umbreon, because I didn't get the best IVs in the trade, which is to be expected, unless you're extremely lucky. But do double up on the foul plays, is that these Pokemon actually do a lot more damage than the ones that have better IVs. So sometimes you do have to spend a shield on a Pokemon like Vaporeon. So we do try to shield, farm up and just barely. We might have lost CMP tire. I have to spend a shield to keep the switch advantage. So this cup switch advantage is huge, and also your team selection is huge. So you have to watch out for people who are bringing double waters, or people who are bringing double anti-charmers, or things like that. So it's just some things to pay attention to and be ready for. So you kind of have to know it's not just the type advantage like some of the other cups are, and it does test your I want to say perseverance, your shield usage basically. So making sure that you hold onto the shields, that you're not using them in the wrong scenarios, things like that. So at this point, with the Dark Pulse being fired off, I pretty much will assume that that is a non-last resort Umbreon. And here is the scenario that I basically have the Alolan Sand on my team for, is the Nidoqueen in the one shield scenario. With Sand actually being able to hit 3 Ice Punches before the second Earth Power comes through. So there, down goes Nidoqueen, and we just have Umbreon left to deal with. So for these videos and for time's sakes, I didn't post the third round unless it was necessary. So just so you guys know, for some of these battles. And then I am missing round 4 because I was on the live stream, and apparently if you use an iPhone on the live stream that you can't screen record at the same time. I did ask my opponent for the video, and he gladly sent it to me. Unfortunately, the quality isn't that high, so I just wanted to basically leave it out for now. But if you guys want, Go Stadium did live stream this tournament, and I did get to be on the live stream for the last 2 rounds, so that was pretty cool. And in this matchup here, I was afraid of Gyro Ball, so that's why I shielded there. Now that I know that it was Bulldoze, it's some information that I can use for game 2 and for this mirror match here. So he could have Bulldoze here, and it was just like one of those like gut feeling things where I was just like, I think he's trying to bait me, and I just didn't shield. So sometimes you just get that feeling, and it pays off, and other times it doesn't. Like you're gonna see here, I decide to go for the Bulldoze, and he shields it, and at this point I'm willing to take the 2 shield advantage. My Alolan Sanchez does just barely live, and we're going to bring in Umbreon, and we're going to be able to kind of farm this thing up for energy, because we're not really worried about either move that it's going to throw on us. So we're going to farm up. He does switch in Ninetales, and again we're going to last resort the Ninetales so that there's a big chunk of health on, so then when we bring in our Ninetales, we can just charm it down. Or in this case, since he doesn't have a shield, we can use that Psyshock. So we're farming down, and back comes in Sandslash, and we're just going to straight charm. We're just going to straight fast move it. And then in comes Shelgon, and a little bit of overkill here, but we did have the Ice Beam ready to go, so I just wanted to scare the win, and it's going to one-shot that Shelgon. Alright, and for round number 3, I did go up against Q, who is one of the top trainers from Columbus, and on his team he chose the spicy Fire Fang, Hippowdon, and Lanoon, Barrel, and then like the core 3 Pokemon that most people are running on their team. So let's see how we do against Q. And in the first game, we did have like Crash, where I did see the lead, but we did go back in with the same lead, and it's a terrible situation for me. So I want to switch out immediately into the Barrel, and we're just going to farm this thing up for as much energy as possible. In comes Vaporeon, and we're going to go straight for the Hyper Fang, knowing that most players don't like to shield that first fast move, but yeah, he knows what he's doing, so he shields that first fast move. Probably should have built up a little bit more energy to go for Hyper Fang to possibly beat that other shield, but I just wanted to make sure that I could get off double surfs from here. So building up, and we don't quite get to it, so decide to go ahead and let this go through, and basically the reason why is to get some use out of my Ninetales while this Umbreon was still like switch locked in. So we're gonna go ahead, and he does swap out into Skuntank, and I made a mistake here where I'm like trying desperately, I think I can get to the Ice Beam, and I don't. So this was absolutely crazy. Like, I didn't think that there was like a win scenario here, but we're definitely just gonna go ahead and play it out. The Skuntank has a ton of energy too, so we are going to go ahead and hit it with the Last Resort just before it gets off another charge move. And then we're able to take it out. And then we're just going to foul play whatever decides to come back in. And it is the Paladin. And at this point, this thing did build up a little bit of energy before it swapped out. And we're just going to try and get to another foul play. At this point, I'm going to shield. And I know that Fire Fang does not generate energy very much, so I'm just going to try and build up here as much as I can so that I can try and hit a Last Resort on the Umbreon. And then I do get extremely lucky here and able to farm down the Umbreon and do have enough energy to hit one foul play, and he burns that final shield, and I hit the final foul play with the smallest amount of health left on that Paladin. So very nice pick. I was just lucky enough to get off so many foul plays there at the end because Snarl is just so good. So then basically we're just going to bring Barrel instead of Skuntank because Barrel is going to counter pretty much everything on his team that isn't Umbreon. And the Paladin like really, really well. So here we're just waiting for Q to select his team. It was a really, really well put together tournament, so I appreciate the Columbus community for throwing it together for us. So here we do get the lead. This was a matchup that I saw a lot. I'm not exactly sure, like I was never feeling the Barrel lead, but I think people might have done it a lot because I had Nidoqueen on my team. And I basically almost never used Nidoqueen. People use it against me all the time. I just don't seem to have very good luck with it. But I don't know if they bring that Water Gunner because they thought I would lead Nidoqueen, because most people do prefer to run like Alolan Ninetales in the lead. But I like Umbreon in the lead, and I would run Alolan Ninetales every now and then as well. So we're just going to go ahead and hit this Last Resort here on the Umbreon. And we're just going to do as many as we can before we faint down. Just putting a ton of pressure on this Umbreon. So we're just going to keep on going until, that Umbreon decides to spend its energy. And we're just going to let it faint at this point. And then we're going to go ahead and bring in our Ninetales. We just don't care about this. It's just going to tickle Alolan Ninetales, and then pretty much expect the swap right away because a lot of people like to do that, especially with some of the problems that you can have with fast moves going on. They like to switch like right after a charge move, so I was just basically predicting that was going to happen. And do shield here, and it's just a body slam. I just didn't want it to be an earth power because it still does so much damage to the Barrel. But at this point, I know that it probably can't get to that earth power and have plenty of energy on the Barrel to go ahead and burn this final shield on Umbreon and get to another Surf as well and take it out. So very, very good games against Q. And we're going to go ahead and go into round number 5 here against L-Jazz. Final round against L-Jazz 7. His team is identical to mine except for he has Pachirisu instead of Nidoqueen. So game number 1, I'm thinking that he might be actually bringing this Pachirisu. I had no idea. I assumed that it was kind of like mine, where it could, beat Alolan Ninetales in certain scenarios, and obviously that it could beat the Barrel. So I do go ahead and bring, I believe, Alolan Ninetales, Umbreon, and Skuntank for the first match. And these were absolutely crazy. They were live streamed. They waited for everybody to play through their rounds and stuff. So it was a little bit nerve-wracking for me. I've never been up there before. I did do round 4 up there, like I said. But let's go ahead and get into the videos. And these are from his point of view because I could not record while I was on the live stream. So let's go ahead and get into these awesome battles with L-Jazz. Alright. So we start off with the most exciting mirror match, besides like Suicune versus Suicune, of the Ferocious Cup, and we're just gonna go ahead and well, I guess this is him. So he's gonna go for foul play right away. I don't know if he wanted me to think that he didn't have last resort, or what. I don't know what the foul play was for there. But we do go ahead and queue up our our last resort on this Umbreon, and then we're gonna go ahead and hit it with another one here as well. So then the weird thing about the Umbreon matchup is, it's kind of IV dependent if you both have last resort. If you don't both have last resort, then whoever does is definitely going to win. But the weird thing about it, and you'll see here, and I don't think it made a huge difference in the match, is I'm actually going to lose this on purpose. So like right there, like I had either foul play or last resort, but I wanted to bring in my skunk tank and farm up the Umbreon a little bit. Obviously, it didn't work as well as I wanted it to because he had a foul play that I got hit by, and I only got like one poison gen, so have to look into that a little bit more. But Ferocious Cup is coming to an end. They did announce Timeless Cup, so I'm going to be focusing on that here shortly. So this is kind of what you wanted to do, is farm up a bunch of energy and just go ahead and hit these other Pokemon with crunches. Low energy move does a ton of neutral damage in Cup. And then I do switch into Alolan Ninetales right when he was going to throw the Ice Punch. So I'm able to save a shield there. And again, I knew this was probably an Ice Punch. So I didn't shield. At some point I should have started to shield because like I'm like super low health. And then his last Pokemon is Skunk Tank. So like normally Alolan Ninetales would beat Skunk Tank. But you're going to see what happens here. Go for the charge move, and I get this huge Ice Beam off, and he just sits there with one shield, and I sat there with two shields, so I don't know if he was freaking out a little bit because I still had two shields or what was going on, but we did get super lucky and had that Ice Beam come through. So again, this time Alolan Ninetales lead into the Sand Slash. So go straight for Ice Punch, and I knew it wasn't a Bulldoze, so I wasn't going to shield. I do decide to switch into Barrel to go ahead and get kind of a lead on this, and Barrel can already beat Alolan Ninetales, getting off two Surfs in the one shield scenario. So we're going to go ahead and get to this other Surf. Actually, go for Hyper Fang here. And he survives with 1 HP. And I'm just like, oh my gosh, that was so huge. I have to burn the shield to keep switch advantage and keep my barrel in there. And then we're just going to go ahead and try and do as much damage to the Skunk Tank as possible. However, now the Skunk Tank pretty much did what I wanted to do in the first game, and it's just loaded up on energy. So we're going to bring in Umbreon. And these Sludge Bombs do a ton of damage to Umbreon. Just an absolute ton. And I think he actually gets me here with the Crunch Bait. Nope. Don't fall for it. And I'm going to use Last Resort. And then I'm going to build up to another one. And then he's either going to have to shield or let it go down. He's going to go ahead and let it go down. And then he's got the Alolan Sand Slash left. And he right away goes for the Ice Punch, and I go ahead and switch into Ninetales, realizing that at this point I can just farm down the Sand Slash. So I do shield just because I didn't want to get stuck in a scenario where I didn't have the shields anymore. So we were able to take home the victory, take home the trophy. I was actually able to win a Sword and Shield game as well, and I guess Go Stadium jersey. So hopefully I can get that, and then I got to be on the live stream. It was like a really fun experience for us. So this is game 3 of the final rounds. You might as well do it while you're in a tournament setting, while you're on the live stream, while you got everybody watching you, just to kind of get used to that little scenario. And what did I swap into? Oh, Skunk Tank. So I swapped into the Skunk Tank, this time hoping to farm up a little bit more energy than before, and we should have a bunch of crunches ready to go on this barrel. Look how much damage that crunch does. It's insane. So then we get another one off, forcing that shield, and at this point we could possibly shield the Surf and get really close to farming down with the Skunk Tank, but I believe I let it go. Yep. So let it go. I'm going to bring in Umbreon, and Umbreon is just going to farm this thing up. Umbreon don't care about no Surf. It was a really amazing experience for me. I hated the Ferocious Cup at first. It's still not the best cup. I really don't like it. I don't believe that it is fair for people who don't have a last resort Umbreon or aren't lucky enough to find somebody to trade them one. It took a lot of effort for me, and a lot of people were like, hey, I have one, and then just ghost me, or like, hey, I have one, oh, never mind, I don't, and like, I have an Eevee that knows last resort, will that evolve into Umbreon? And it was just, it was crazy. So hopefully this Timeless Cup looks really good. I don't think there's legacy mons that are too important besides maybe Venomoth, so we'll see. But I had a really great time. Thanks to Gemma, thanks for AJ, Go Stadium, the Columbus community for hosting the tournament. And I will see you guys hopefully for a bigger and better Timeless Cup tournament next month. So thanks everybody. It's definitely the best thing that's happened to me so far since PvP has come out, and I appreciate it. If you guys could please leave a like on this video, subscribe, hit the notification bell, all of that kind of stuff. Comment down below what you think about the Ferocious Cup or what you're looking forward to in the Timeless Cup. And I will see you guys in the next video.